are all positive and negative numbers, including 0. So here we go. First thing you need to know is absolute value. Absolute value is how far a number is from 0, how many places it is. And it's shown like this in these bars. That tells you that it's asking for the absolute value. The absolute value of -3 is saying how far is it from 0? Well, it's 1, 2, 3 spaces. So the absolute value of -3 is 3. What about the absolute value of +3? Well, that's 1, 2, 3 spaces from 0, 2. So the absolute value of +3 is 3. In other words, in simpler terms, you can just, if ever you see this and it's asking for the absolute value, which is 2 straight bars with a number inside of it, whether it's positive or negative, it becomes a positive number because that's how far it is from 0. Okay? Keep that in mind. You'll need to know that word. Okay, you're going to want to write this down. If you are adding two numbers and they have the same sign, they're both positive, like in this example, 3 and 5, or if they're both negative, if they have the same sign, you find the sum. Same sign, find the sum. +3 plus +5 equals +8. If you have two numbers that are both negative, like -3 and -5, because their signs are the same, they're both negative, you're still going to find the sum. 3 plus 5 is 8, and then they keep their sign. They stay negative, and you can picture why on the number line when you come all the way over there. Now you have a total of -8. What about when they have different signs? Okay, that's where we get really, really tricky, okay, and a lot of people struggle. So, if they have different signs, like right here, we have a -3 plus +5. So if I have one negative and one positive, I need to find the difference. And this can be shown what's happening right here. I have -3, I'm over here, and then I'm going to go 5 all the way up here, and this is what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the difference between the two. And your answer is going to be what's left over, this difference. We came all the way up to +2. And it's positive because there's more positive than negative. Okay, that's going to make sense when we use our chips. If we look at this one, okay, if we had +3 and we came up here to +3 and then we added a -5, we would come all the way down here and it went to the -2. Again, that's the difference between 5 and 3 because whatever they have the same, they're just going to cancel each other out. So we're concerned with the difference, which in this case was 2. And it's always going to be whatever number was bigger. So in this case, because 5's absolute value is bigger than 3, because the absolute value of -5 is 5, so we would have 5 minus 3 is 2, and then it gets the sign of the bigger number. Okay, let's model some more of those with some chips. The yellow ones are going to be positive and the red ones are going to be negative, okay? First, let's just do a simple old positive and positive. So I am adding two wonderful numbers right here. I have +3 and I'm adding to it +4. Well, they're the same sign, they're the same color. I'm just going to add them up, find the sum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my answer is +7. Same sign, found the sum. What about if these were all negative? Well, now I have -3 and I have +4, I'm sorry, -4. So they're both negative, same sign, find the sum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they keep their sign, which is -7. Okay, what about if we had -3 plus +4? Well, remember, they're going to cancel each other out. A negative and a positive kind of become like they zero out to 0. So we're going to line those up, we're going to line those up, and what do I have here? I have one left over, and it's positive, which tells me that my answer is +1. This is where absolute value comes in. Me lining these up is saying whether this is positive or negative. I've got 4 of them. Whether this is positive or negative, I've got 3 of them. So when they get matched up like this, it's finding their absolute value. And then it says what's left over. This is our bigger number. Okay, let's look at another one. I'm going to use a board to show you it, and then we will model it. So let's say that I have negative 6 minus, let's say that I have negative 6 plus 3. Okay, in this case, I have a negative and a positive. So they have different signs. I need to find the difference. So if I have negative 6, if I took the absolute value of negative 6, I'm going to have 6 chips. If I find the absolute value of 3, here's my 3 chips. These ones are going to cross out because I'm finding the difference. So 6 minus 3 gives me 3 left over, and then they take the sign of the bigger number, which was the 6, the absolute value of 6. So your answer is negative 3. Okay, there's something else that's tricky, okay, that we're going to do to help us. Sometimes we mix up subtraction. There's actually no such thing as subtraction. Subtraction is just adding the inverse of something. So if I did 5 minus 3, we all already know the answer of that. But look, I'm going to change this to an addition problem. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to keep my 5. I'm going to change my 0. And I'm going to take the opposite of 3. Let's look at what this does, okay? So keep the 5, change the minus to addition, and change the 3 from positive 3 to negative 3. 5 minus 3 is the same thing as 5 plus negative 3. Let's look at that with our chips. So you can see if I have 5 positive chips and I add 3 negative chips, I would take the absolute value of 5 and of 3, subtract them, and I'm left with 2 positive chips. It's the exact same thing. This can be really helpful because this is a really common mistake. Let's say that I had negative 6 minus 3. On first guess, a lot of you may have answered that negative 6 minus 3 is 3. Right? Yep, let's look again. Let's model it with our chips. So we're going to keep, change, opposite. Negative 6 plus negative 3. Oh. You might have even said that it was 3. You might have even said it was negative 3. But look at this problem right here. Negative 6 plus negative 3. So in this case, they have the same sign. It would be like 6 red chips plus 3 red chips, and that's a total of 9 red chips, which means they're going to keep their sign of negative. Okay, let's look at a different one. How about negative 4 plus 6. Okay, it's already addition, so I don't need to change that. But a negative 4 would be like having 4 chips. And a positive 6 would be like having 6 of these. So if I found the absolute value and lined them up, different signs, find the difference. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minus 4, which gives us 2 left over, and they keep the sign of the bigger number. 6 minus 4 is 2. They stay positive. What if we use the same amount of chips, but we made this subtraction? Well, then that would be the same thing as keep, change, opposite, negative 4 plus negative 6. And if all of these were red, then same sign find the sum. So 4 plus 6 is 10, and then they keep their sign, so they're negative 10. What if this was positive 4 minus 6, or positive 4 plus negative 6? Remember, it's the same thing. If these were positive, I'm going to find the absolute value. So 6 and 4, find the difference. 6 minus 4. 6 minus 4, I have 2 left over, and this time they are negative because my 6 is the bigger number. I hope that all of this helped you. This concept is hard. We'll revisit it a lot. But yeah, let's get to work.